Hi, everybody. The movie begins in Brazil. Ana and Paulo are exploring the Amazon rainforest. Ana wants to keep going, but Paulo thinks the jungle doesn't want them there, and they should leave. Suddenly they hear something moving on the roof of their van, and Paulo gets his gun ready. However, when Ana moves the curtains, they discover it's just a monkey. Then Ana announces she's continuing alone and leaves on her bike. Two mysterious men see her and rush to their boat to follow her. However, something hits the bottom of the boat and causes one of the men to fall into the water. Suddenly an anaconda appears and wraps its body around the man. His friend tries to help him, but the conda is too strong and takes him away. In California, videographer Doug is telling a story about a monster emerging from the sewers in an average town. He's interrupted by his clients who remind him that they only want a normal video for their wedding. Doug has to hide the awful feelings of his dreams dying. Meanwhile, background actor Griff tries to put his own spin on the few lines he has for a short scene. However, the director scolds him and makes him keep things simple. Later, Griff walks outside the studio and sees a poster from the 1997 movie Anaconda. At that moment, he gets a message from his best friend Doug, who congratulates him on getting a gig and wonders when he'll visit their hometown at the end of the workday. Doug's boss scolds him for trying to pitch a horror film to their clients and reminds him they're a party service. He understands that Doug used to dream about becoming a big director, but he needs to keep his head on his shoulders since one day this business will be his. When Doug goes home, all his loved ones are waiting for him with a surprise party. Griff has also come and brought a very special gift, a short movie he and Doug made when they were kids. They played the tape and everyone laughs at the sight of their younger selves dressed like adults while running from a kid in a monster costume. The next day, Doug and Griff have lunch with Kenny and Claire, who are also part of their silly movie. Suddenly Griff drops big news. He's acquired the rights to the old Anaconda franchise. He wants to shoot an indie remake with his friends, and Kenny and Claire agree to help. However, Doug says no because he has a job and a family to provide for. That night, Doug discovers that his son is watching his old childhood film. His wife notices that Doug lights up whenever he glances at the screen and insists he should take Griff's offer, but Doug refuses again. Afterward, he starts working on editing the latest wedding video, and he's finally hit by how depressing this is. He drives to Griff's home and tells him he'll join the project. Now Doug is so inspired that he writes a whole script pretty fast. When he meets with his friends, he explains that this will take them 3 weeks of shooting and will cost around $2 million. The group visits a few banks and tries to get a loan, but the banks make very small offers. Doug has no choice but to rewrite the script, so they'll only need $43,000. Thankfully, his friends like the new story too. Kenny is especially excited about this after losing his job at the wedding video company, revealing he drank too much. When it's finally time to leave, Doug's son gives him a gift. It's a little Oscar-like figurine that says "World's Greatest Doug." The group eventually arrives. Lives in a small Brazilian town and meets Santiago, the snake handler they hired on the phone. He takes them to his truck and shows them his snake, which almost died in the river because illegal mining poisoned the water. Santiago rescued the snake and nursed it back to life. When the group tries to take a closer look, the snake snaps at them and everyone steps back in fear. Santiago tells them that the anacondas in the river are even bigger and claims that being killed by an anaconda is better than being hunted by one. In the same town, Ana tries to stay hidden in the crowd while the mysterious men still look for her. She steals a knife from a bar to defend herself and notices that the guy in the neighboring chair is passed out drunk. He has the keys to a boat, so Ana steals them. When she approaches the boat with the intention to escape, she finds the friends loading their equipment. It turns out they rented the boat for their film. Santiago throws the snake box into the boat, and it cracks when it lands. Ana lies and tells them they talked to her father on the phone, but he's now in the hospital, so she has to cancel the trip. The group explains that all the other boats are booked and shares the story of their dream, begging for her help. At that moment, Ana sees her pursuers coming closer, so she agrees to take the job and makes everyone board quickly to finally get away. When the men realize Anna is gone, they ask a guy on the pier for a log of all the boats that left in the past 3 hours so they can continue their chase. The next day, filming finally begins at a waterfall. Claire's and Griff's characters have an argument about exploring the jungle that mimics what Anna and Paolo discussed the other day. The story is about a biologist who hires a snake hunter to track down the anaconda that wiped out her entire family. Whenever they take a break, Doug records behind-the-scenes stuff. He shares the story of his filmmaking dreams and reveals that he and Griff were supposed to move to Los Angeles. Together, however, life happened, so Griff was the only one to move, and he had to struggle in the industry alone. Santiago tells Kenny everything he knows about Anaconda's habits, and together they record a series of shots from the snake's point of view. Griff's and Claire's characters have a love subplot, so Kenny teases Claire since she and Griff used to date. Claire swears this is just part of the job, but as days pass and their characters grow close, she starts feeling that. Spark 2. One night, Doug tells Griff that his chemistry with Claire is amazing. Griff explains that working with his friends fills him with passion, nothing like the cold sets of big productions that are only there for the paycheck. During dinner, the group discusses ideas for their action scenes and even practices the moves, making Anna realize that she's surrounded by weirdos. Later, while everyone is asleep, Santiago's snake escapes from the broken box. It slithers across the boat until it reaches Griff's bed. He removes his beauty mask and is startled by the animal, screaming as the snake jumps over him to capture a bird on the window. Minutes later, Santiago says he's fixed the box and promises the snake won't escape again. Kenny realizes that Santiago never showed them a certificate confirming he's a professional, but the group doesn't have time to find another guy, so they'll have to keep working with him. The next day, Griff gets ready to film a scene with a snake. However, when Santiago puts it too close to his face, Griff freaks out. He tells Doug he wants to change the scene, but Doug reminds him that this is an important moment because his character protects Claire's as a symbol of love. They start recording again and Griff has to hold the snake on top of him. He doesn't need to act because he's truly scared of it. When the snake brings its face closer to his, Griff panics and throws it in the water. The poor snake ends up hitting the boat's propellers, which immediately kill it. Santiago cries as he watches the snake's chopped head resurface. In the evening, Santiago holds a funeral for the snake. Griff finds it cringy, so a furious Santiago reminds him that this was his fault and kicks him out of the ceremony. Then Santiago burns the snake's remains and sings to say goodbye. Nearby, one of Anna's pursuers finally finds her boat. He calls his boss, but before he can give him the location, he's interrupted by a strange noise in the water. Suddenly, the anaconda jumps out of the water and kills him. Later, Griff apologizes to Santiago, and they drink together. Griff shares how badly his career has been going in Santiago. Takes pity on him, so he promises to catch a new snake to finish this movie. However, he forces Griff to come along. The duo grabs some flashlights and enters the jungle, where Griff is startled by every little noise. Santiago is focused on his task and keeps advancing, accidentally leaving Griff behind in the water. The anaconda starts following him without being seen. Griff soon notices that he's alone, and when he hears a bird squawking, he panics and runs back to the boat. Once Santiago is far enough in the swamp, he lights a flare and loudly asks where the snake is. Suddenly, the anaconda wraps its body around him and kills him. Later on the boat, Griff tells Doug he's worried because Santiago hasn't returned. Doug reminds him that Santiago is a professional and he'll probably be back in the morning. In the meantime, Kenny steals Santiago's medicine to mix it with alcohol. A few hours later, Griff's friends realize he's right to be worried, so they all leave the boat to go looking for Santiago. Then one of Anna's pursuers gets on the boat and finds it empty. So he sends his men to the jungle. Meanwhile, Kenny claims he's guiding his friends through the jungle, but he's actually very lost. Doug is surprised to see a camper van among the bushes, and the group takes a look inside, but it's empty. Suddenly they hear a noise and the friends are terrified to watch Santiago's body being thrown against the van. After the body falls on the ground, the anaconda's head appears at the window and the group freezes in fear. The only one to react is Anna, who tells them that they need to escape. Griff rushes to the driver's seat and tries to start the van to no avail. Kenny explains these kinds of vehicles have split-charge batteries known for popping off. He knows how to fix it, but he can't rely on his eyes because of his current mental state. Doug yells at him for consuming on the job again before he volunteers to fix it himself. He carefully sneaks out of the van and reaches the hood, opening it while trying hard to avoid making any noises. The battery is fixed very quickly and Doug closes the hood without issues. However, when Griff starts the engine and turns on the lights, it reveals the Anaconda approaching Doug from behind. Doug sees it just in time to duck when it jumps while Griff panics and gets the van moving. A furious Doug yells at him and manages to get back in the van, closing the door right before the Anaconda attacks again. As the van advances through the jungle, the beast is left behind. Anna's pursuers see the lights and jump on their bikes to go after them. The friends see them and want to ask for their help, but Anna forbids it. When Claire demands an explanation, Anna claims that these men are illegal gold miners who kill anyone trying to get into their territory. At that moment, the bikers open fire, so Anna gets a gun from the van's compartment and breaks the window to fire back at the pursuers. Doug thinks this is amazing and makes Kenny record it all with his phone. One by one, Anna brings all the bikers down with outstanding precision. When the van finally reaches the shore, the friends rush to the boat, but Anna takes a different road. Suddenly, the mysterious man comes out and points a gun at them, asking where Anna is. She appears behind him and hits him with her gun to knock him out. His body is thrown in the water and the group leaves on the boat. Afterward, Anna tells the others that she can get them out of here alive if they keep heading north. Griff doesn't want to. Holman Doug understands his disappointment, but things have become too dangerous to continue. Later in his room, Doug looks at his son's gift for inspiration and starts rewriting the script, making Anna the main action hero. The next morning, Doug shows his friends the new script. Now the story is about a biologist and a hunter searching for a snake, but their search is interrupted when they encounter illegal gold diggers. The group loves the idea and agrees to do more shooting while they continue to head north. Anna also agrees to help, and Doug is very happy to include her in most of the scenes, which leaves Griff and Claire without much to do. One night, Griff and Claire drink in private while ranting about the new scripts, since they don't feel like part of the project anymore. Griff complains about the state of his life too, since he feels like a loser, but Claire tells him it's never too late to start over. The next morning, Griff calls Doug out for making Anna the new star, and an argument ensues. They're interrupted by a strange noise and a whole fleet of fancy boats passes near them. Doug sees the equipment and asks them if they're shooting a movie, so a woman tells him that they're doing a reboot of Anaconda for Sony. Griff has no choice but to admit he lied about having the movie rights. Doug starts screaming at him, so Griff claims he had to lie to make them come because Doug is always paralyzed by fear, like the time he refused to go to Los Angeles with him. A furious Doug fires Griff, who says he's already quit. He packs his things and leaves on a small boat, ignoring Claire when she tries to stop him. Moments later, Griff is shocked to find all the Sony boats destroyed. A woman appears in the jungle asking for help, but before Griff can rescue her, the Anaconda jumps out and swallows her whole. Griff panics and tries to head back, but his boat is failing. Meanwhile, Kenny and Claire notice that their boat has stopped. Doug tells them that Anna has found a great place to shoot another scene, but the others think it's too dangerous and don't want to work without Griff anyway. Suddenly, Anna points her gun at them and forces them to get off the boat. While the group enters the jungle, the mysterious man reappears. Soon Griff comes back and notices a small boat next to Anna's. He takes a closer look and finds a box with guns, so he realizes that Anna's pursuers are close. In the jungle, Anna takes the trio to an abandoned dock and forces them to move some heavy bags. When Doug looks inside, he finds gold, so the truth comes out. Anna is the illegal smuggler, and the men following her are the police. Doug throws a bag into the water, but his heroic moment is interrupted by the cop finding them. He makes Anna drop her gun and throws some handcuffs on the floor, telling her to put them on. At that moment, Griff appears in the jungle and shoots the cop in the leg before reuniting with his friends. Doug scolds him and tells him the truth while Anna picks up her gun again. When the cop tries to do the same, she immediately kills him with a shot. Claire tries to make Anna see reason to no avail, so instead she jumps on her to headbutt her as she practiced for her action scenes, stealing her gun in the process. As Anna moves quickly to get her gun back, the anaconda jumps out and captures her, bringing her into the water to kill her. The others immediately run away, only to realize they're lost. Doug finds a tarantula crawling on his leg, and everyone panics while they kick it away. Then Doug cries, saying that the tarantula bit his leg and he can't keep going. Kenny explains that the best way to deal with animal bites is pee and volunteers to do it. However, he can't pee while standing, so the group finds a weird configuration to make it work. Doug lies down on the ground and Griff gets comfortable on his friend's belly to act as a chair for Kenny, who proceeds to pee on Doug's leg. Afterward, the group keeps moving and Doug apologizes to Griff for their fight. He admits he's always been jealous because Griff was brave enough to chase his dream. The touching moment is interrupted when the anaconda appears above him and captures him with its mouth to take him away. Griff wants to help him, but Claire convinces him to run. Moments later, Griff blames himself for Doug's death, since this trip was his idea, saying it should have been him. Kenny observes the area with his binoculars and confirms the boat is close, but they must cross a big open field. It'd leave them very exposed, so they need a distraction. Suddenly they hear a noise and the trio looks around only to find Doug's body together with a dead boar. Kenny touches him and confirms there's no pulse, so he thinks they can use Doug as the distraction. The group moves Doug and the boar to the middle of the field, keeping them standing with tape. Kenny inserts a dead squirrel in Doug's mouth, claiming that snakes love squirrel meat. The trio then starts running, always keeping an eye out for the anaconda. When the beast finally shows up, they're shocked to see Doug waking up because he's alive after all. The friends yell to warn Doug about the upcoming anaconda, so Doug begins to run with the boar still on his back. The anaconda gets close enough to try to bite him, but Doug dodges it just in time. Soon the boar wakes up too, and Doug has to grab its mouth to stop it from biting him. When the anaconda attacks again, it captures the boar, and Doug can keep moving to reunite with his friends. The group runs for a while and doesn't stop until they find a safe area. Griff apologizes to Doug and admits that what matters the most is working with his friends again. By the time night falls, they finally make it to the shore and find the destroyed Sony set. Griff picks up a radio and hears some static before a voice yells behind you. The anaconda appears on the set too, and the friends run as a flare hits the animal in the face. At that moment, famous actor Ice Cube, who was part of the previous film, comes out of the shadows and shoots a few more flares to keep the anaconda at bay. Then he guides the group to his hiding spot inside a broken boat. The friends ask him for a selfie before he gives them one of the flare guns and leaves to look for other survivors. Doug realizes that the set has special effects equipment that they can use to kill the snake, so they make a plan. They also turn on the lights and get a camera rolling to use the final battle for their film. Griff and Doug get on a golf cart and scream until the anaconda comes for them. A chase ensues and the anaconda causes even more destruction as it brings down any structure in its way. At the same time, Kenny and Claire notice that their detonator has no signal, so they need to fix it. Doug and Griff drive as fast as possible, guiding the anaconda toward their trap. Just as Kenny and Claire manage to connect the cables to bring back the signal, Griff presses the button on his detonator, yet nothing happens. Kenny realizes he forgot to turn his end of the machine on and does it now. When the anaconda jumps close enough to the cart, the fireworks finally blow up and hit the beast. However, it recovers quickly and continues to chase the humans. The four friends try to run away but find themselves stuck at a dead end. Soon the anaconda arrives, so Griff takes out the flared gun and shoots at it, quoting his line from their childhood film. His shot hits a gas line, and the resulting explosion is powerful enough to blow up the anaconda. Its remains fall around the group and its huge mouth opens, but Doug jumps on it and stabs it with a figurine to finish the job. Sometime later, Doug and Griff present their movie at a small festival in their hometown. The crowd loves it, and Griff and Claire celebrate with a kiss. During the credits, there's a message in memory of Santiago. Unfortunately, Sony sends them a cease and desist letter, so the movie is never distributed to theaters. Claire and Griff eventually get married and Doug directs their wedding film, making it a short horror flick. Griff keeps on taking background roles in big productions, and Kenny learns to pee standing. One day, Doug opens his door and is shocked to find Jennifer Lopez, who was also part of the previous Anaconda movie. She watched Doug's reboot and loved it, so she wants him to direct the official production. Doug passes out from excitement. In the jungle, Santiago wakes up alive. Like and subscribe for more interesting movie like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.